Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 29 of the Brownie Knits podcast. I'm your host, Gina, aka Brownie Knits. Welcome back to returning viewers and welcome to any new viewers. Thank you so much for watching this podcast and joining me on all my knitting and crochet and other needlecraft adventures. Last month, so I'm recording, it's November 2nd already. And last month was our 1 year anniversary for the podcast. It was such a crazy busy month that I kind of missed it. But wow, a year went by really fast. And I started this podcast initially because I was planning to release a block pattern a month and do a block blanket along throughout 2015. We've been doing that, and this is actually one of the block episodes. There's plenty of other content if you're not making the block blanket. But at the beginning of this episode, I'll go through block 11. I can't believe we only have one more left after this. And then I'll go into some giveaways that we have going on and a few finished knits. So I hope that you have some needlework with you and can sit back and relax for a little bit with me. So, all right, so block 11 is our block for November. So each block has been sort of inspired by the month or something that happens in my life or in my community during that month of the year. And in November in Indiana, where I live, you will experience the beautiful fall foliage and all of the leaves falling. So this month's block was inspired by the fall leaves. And so I'm going to show you that block. If you are new to the blanket along, the pattern is the Brownie Knits 2015 block blanket along. You can get the block patterns on Ravelry and on brownieknits.com. You can get them for free through the end of January 2016. After that time, you can still get the pattern. It'll just be like $2.99 and available through Ravelry and Craftsy and my Etsy shop. And right now, each block has its own file. In December, I'll be releasing it will also have its own file for December if you're doing it that way. But I'll also be releasing a file that has all of them in one. And then going forward in January, it'll just be that one that's out. So anyway, so here is block 11. And like I said, it's inspired by the fall leaves. So you can see it is a leaf motif. And we have 3 panels of 2 leaves each, and they cascade down. So it is a bit of lace work. It's not difficult. You just have to keep track of what row you're on. The yarn that I used for this block is Barocco Vintage in their mushroom colorway. It's their worsted weight. To do this block, we did as with all of our blocks in this blanket, we start out with our garter stitch at the bottom as our edging. For this block, we increased just a few stitches on the last row of that garter so that we can work our leaf pattern. And then this leaf pattern is a 10-row repeat. In the pattern, it is both written and charted, so you can work from whichever you're more comfortable with. All of the techniques that are used in this block, if you are a newer knitter and need a little bit of help with any of those techniques, I have a video up on my Brownie Knits YouTube channel called Techniques for the Brownie Knits 2015 Block Blanket Along. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes too. But you can look at that video. For instance, it has how to do a yarn over, things like that. So it also does show you how to read a flat chart if you are new to charts as well. But like I said, it's both written and charted. And so you repeat those 10 rows until it's about 1 inch less than your desired length. And then you're going to do a little bit of a decrease on the first row of the garter in the top garter section. On the outsides, we do have a garter on the beginning of the row and the end of the row to set it off. Those stitches are not on the chart. And I note that in the pattern. So you just do your garter stitches, slip your marker, do the chart, slip your marker, and do the ending garter stitches. So not difficult. All right, so there it is, like I said, in the Barocca Vintage Worsted Mushroom colorway. For this one, you really want to block it heavily to get that lace to really pop out. So it's the 12 by 12 or whatever size blocks you're actually getting with yours. Yeah, I don't think there's too much else to say about that one. It was a fun knit. It might take you a little bit longer than some of the other blocks. I would recommend that you use a lifeline since it is lace work, and just remember when you're putting your lifeline in, make sure you remember what row you're putting it into so that if you do have to rip it out, that you know what row you're starting from again, and make sure you don't put your lifeline through your stitch markers because you want to be able to move those up freely. I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to contact me. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Ravelry. You can email me at brownieknits@yahoo.com. You can also find me on Craftsy and Etsy. So, all right, so there's the block. And then I thought I'd talk about some giveaways that we have going on. We have one that is related to our knit along, and then we have one that's a just because giveaway. But I wanted to talk about it now because I think, well, there's some shopping opportunities for you, I guess. So the first giveaway, my sister-in-law, so my husband's sister, she is one of the most compassionate people I know, and she's always looking for a way to change the world for the better. And last year, I believe it was, maybe 2 years, I think it was just last year, she started working as a compassionate entrepreneur for Trades of Hope. If you haven't heard of Trades of Hope before, they are a wonderful organization that supports artisans around the world, many of them in poverty-stricken situations or situations that are brought about by domestic violence and other things like that. And this organization gives them a way to provide for their families. So, and they do some really cool, different artistic things. Like, for instance, this bracelet made by a Haitian artist is made using recycled cereal boxes. So I don't know if I can get it closer there. If you can kind of see the multicolored ones are, you can see the cereal boxes kind of wrapped a little bit. They're very, very sturdy and have like a resin on them. So it's not like you're gonna do the dishes and get your bracelet wet and it's gonna collapse. It's not like that at all. Like, you would not know they were cereal boxes unless you were told. But they're really pretty. I have a couple of items from Trades of Hope myself. I have a bracelet in a different colorway than this. I speak in everything in terms of colorways. And then I have a very special tin photo frame from Trades of Hope that has my picture of my Riley baby who went to heaven earlier this year. So I really like their products. But anyway, so Meg's been working for them and selling stuff, and a lot of times she gives her commission to fundraisers and things like that. So she just really is out to better the world. And so I thought that for this month of November, and then at the beginning of December, that I would do a little giveaway. And in order to register for this giveaway, all you have to do is either like Meg's Instagram page or her Facebook page. She is Meg's Trades of Hope on Facebook, and she is at Meg Magnuson on Instagram. So I'll put both of those here below for those of you who are watching, and then I'll put both of those in the show notes if you're somebody just listening or you're out and about driving in the car or something like that. So if you just like one of those two things or both of those things, you can get registered 2 different ways that way if you like both of them. Then you'll be registered to for the drawing that we're going to do on December 15th for this bracelet. And I made, it's not blocked yet, so I'm going to show you the blocked one. I made one of my Sabrina berets out of this gorgeous Anzula blue yarn, the Nimbus colorway. And this does have a little bit of cashmere in it, so it's a very nice beret. It's one size fits all for women. It would also fit a teenager. So, you know, that way, you know, if you win, you can keep them for yourself, use them as Christmas presents, whatever. And then if you're looking for some Christmas presents or holiday presents, whatever you celebrate, you can also look through Meg's Trades of Hope pages and, you know, place an order if you want. And that way you're giving twice. You're giving the gift that you're giving for the holiday, but you're also giving to the artisans. So all right, so that is one giveaway. And then our other giveaway is part of the Sabrina knit along that I'm doing with Christina Wall of A Knitter's Life. And so I released my Sabrina cowl pattern, I did the Sabrina beret pattern, and that's the beret I just showed. And Christina released her Sabrina cowl. So they're coordinated designs, and we are having a knit along through the end of November, I believe it is. And you can register if you're participating in the knit along, post pictures up on both the Brownie Knits Ravelry group and the A Knitter's Life Ravelry group. Even if you're making Christina's cowl, you can still post in my group and vice versa to register, because we both have prize giveaways. So there are 2 different packages that you can register for. And in mine, I'll show you a few of the items. You're going to get this lovely skein of Anzula. You know, here, since I have it in my hand, 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. So that's the content for that. And for it's the same yarn that I used to make the beret for the Trades of Hope giveaway. You'll get these nifty cards that have everything you can imagine for a knitter on there. It tells you how to do Kitchener, it tells you how to do make ones, how much yardage you would need for different things, all kinds of stuff. I showed this last time in the giveaway, and I got quite a few questions about where you can find these cards, and they're called Knit Card, but the card is spelled K-A-R-D. So if you just go online and Google Knit Card, K-A-R-D, you can find them. They're from Nancy's Knickknacks. I believe that I did see them pop up when I did a search. I think the first place they popped up was either Knit Picks or Jimmy Beans, something like that, maybe Webs. So you'll get that, the yarn, this little bag, Parisian themed bag. Since we named the pattern Sabrina, I went with a little Parisian print sock bag, and this Little Pretty Things book by Lori Rader Day. So there are a couple other items that I don't have with me in possession. They're with Christina, a cable needle, and a little thing of eucalyptus. So there you go. As part of the knit along, I made a couple of my finished items that I have to show today. I apologize that this episode is a little bit heavy on like my own designs and things, and going forward for December, I am planning to do a lot of knitting from other people's patterns, just because I'd like to kind of take November and December to just chill out and not think much. So so after I get a few gift items done, then it'll just be some relaxation knitting, and that's what'll be in the podcast. So, but for now, I made this lovely Sabrina cowl, and I made it out of Anzula Cricket. And their Cricket is listed as worsted as well, but I found it to be a little bit thinner maybe than their For Better or Worsted. I found the For Better or Worsted to have more loft to it than the Cricket. And I know a lot of people were asking Christina about like making the Sabrina cowl so that it was a little bit tighter on the neck. And she, has great suggestions for that in her videos. But I found with using the Cricut that it kind of did tighten it up just a little bit anyway, because it was a little bit thinner. So I just used the same. I used a size 4 and a size 6 needle, like she says to in the pattern. I didn't worry about my gauge. And I just knitted it. And I think it turned out really lovely. And I had this in stash, so I consider it a free project, right? It hasn't been blocked yet, so the cables will pop a little bit more if you want. I made, earlier this year, I made a Sabrina beret out of this yarn that I had in my stash too. So now I have them matching. And I did that because I am a big IU basketball fan. So today, I mentioned that because tonight is our opening exhibition game for the season. I'm so excited. In America, American football is just everywhere. I mean, people go nuts. And the most football that I ever have watched in my life was in high school because I was in the band. And then what I saw, watching Bruno Mars' halftime show, what I saw surrounding that. So I don't watch a lot of football. And, when football season starts until it ends, my Facebook feed is filled up with everybody's posts about American football. And so I just quietly sit by and wait for my basketball season to start. So, the World Series, which is big in our house because Patrick loves baseball, that just ended, and college basketball starts tonight. So I'm happy, which is why I have my little IU on my table there. And just to let you know how crazy I am about it, because I'm in general not that big on sports outside of this, but I've even been reading my basketball magazine that gives you a little preview of all the teams and the season. So I've been studying up. So I just really love it. I go a little nuts. But anyway, so I made that Sabrina cowl as part of the knit along, and then I made a Sabrina beret, and this one will be the actual one that is given away in the earlier giveaway that I talked about. But I wanted to show it here because I haven't blocked it yet. And if you are making one of the Sabrina berets, I mentioned the pattern multiple times and in the earlier videos that when you knit this, it'll look teeny tiny and pointed, but then it'll block out to look like it does in the photos in the pattern. So I wanted to show it before it was blocked just so you could get an idea of what it looked like. So you can see, here's my hand. Here's how little it is, and it's kind of pointed. But when you block this, you get it wet, wash it in, I like to use Eucalyptus, and then you'll block it around a plate, on a plate. You'll have an actual dinner plate in here, and it will flatten the top and really stretch out the beret to make it the shape that you see in the photos. So I just thought I'd give you guys an idea of, if you're knitting it and it looks like it could fit a baby, that's why. So that's one of my finished items. That'll get blocked today or tomorrow. So those were done. And then of course now it's Christmas time knitting, right? And when I was out visiting with my gram, every time I go out, I seem to be knitting socks, and she is a crocheter, and she knits, she's heavily left-handed, so she's actually a true left-handed crocheter. So she's tried to learn to knit before, and it really frustrated her. She learned how to crochet by sitting opposite of someone who was a right-handed crocheter, because she tells me every time I go out that she tried to learn how to crochet in school in like a home ec class and couldn't do it. And she told this friend of hers when she was an adult about that, and she just said, sit down across from me and do what I do, and mirrored it. And she's been crocheting now for the rest of her life. And but she doesn't knit, so she's always a little bit enamored with my knitted socks. And so this time when I was out there, I was working on these because I actually bought the yarn when I was with her. It's the Croy sock yarn from Patons. And, I don't really understand their colorway names on there. I know they're on there because everybody always gives the colorway names. The only thing I could find was Cabo. So I guess maybe it's the Cabo colorway. But anyway, to me it looked like fall. And so that's why I was drawn to it. But she loved it. And so I was knitting them originally for myself and was planning to then figure out a shawl or something like that to make for Graham for Christmas. And we're sitting there talking, and it turns out that her shoe size is the same as my shoe size. And so I decided then that I would make these for her because they're also, you can throw them in the washing machine and the dryer and they're fine. And I want something that's really easy for her to take care of. So I finished those up. I thought they turned out really cute. They're not exact matches, but they're pretty close. So that is Christmas present number 1 done for my Graham. I'm not sure that there will be 2 other Christmas presents that I can show on here. Made Christmas presents. So I did that. And then my other finished item, I had some commitments to finish up before I could just let myself start knitting for fun in November and December. And I'm about a week away from being, free knitting. But I did let myself go ahead and knit up one of the things that I bought at Rhinebeck. This was a kit from the Neighborhood Fiber Company. And the pattern is Yikes Stripes Cow by Ann Weaver. And it turned out so cute. It's so cute. I really like it a lot. The colors are just gorgeous. They're yarn colors, they're dye. I don't know what they do, but it's so brilliant. And then you've got a little bit of everything. You're constantly moving into either using a different color or doing a different stitch pattern so you never get bored. And then you get to do these lovely braids, which I love this braid kind of technique. I did on my niece's Christmas stocking that I made her. It has it on there, and I keep looking at it. You can count on the fact that there will be a hat at some time in the future from me that has a braid on it like that, because I just love it. It's so much fun to do. It gives such a really neat look to the garment. So, yeah. So I finished my Yikes Stripes Cow. It was a fast knit too. So that was my fun knitting in the midst of other things. So, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. This is a really short episode. That's okay. My last episode was a really long episode. And you guys were so sweet. I got so many emails and comments about the Rhinebeck episode, and I really appreciate it. I was worried that maybe I was rambling on a little bit, but it was just such a magical experience. I couldn't shut myself up. So I'm glad that you guys really enjoyed it. Yeah, so check out Trades of Hope, check out the Block 11, let me know if you have any questions. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Our board's been a little bit quiet, which is okay. I think everybody's, kind of getting settled into everything. But, if there's anything you want to chat about, feel free to start a topic on our Ravelry group. And you can follow me on Instagram, and I'll follow you back. So, all right, I hope everybody is doing really well and that you're in the throes of your holiday knitting and it's going fast and well for you. I'm typically someone who, I'm starting really late for me this year. I don't like to have that pressure on me, so I usually try to plan out very early in the year what I'm going to make for the holidays and get them done and just have them ready and waiting. And I did not do that this year at all, so the pressure's on. So that's okay though. It's going pretty well so far. So All right, well, it was nice chatting with all of you. I hope you're doing well, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.